Now let's begin with August 1st, a nationwide planned protest. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, George Akume, and the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, on Wednesday met with ministers over a planned nationwide protest against economic hardship by youth. The meeting was convened behind closed doors and had all the over 40 ministers in the President's cabinet in attendance. Some of the ministers spotted were Nelson Wike of the FCT, Yusuf Tugar, Foreign Affairs, Zephaniah Jisalo, Special Duties, Tahir Maman, Education, and Abubakar Bagudu, Budget and Planning. Others include Wale Aduma, Finance, Mohammed Idris, Information, Bello Matawale, Defense, and David Umahi of Works, amongst others. Information Minister Idris, who briefed the media after meeting, pleaded with Nigerians to give the government more time to address the economic challenges in the country. Now, in the meantime, the Nigeria Labour Congress has denied reports that it has withdrawn from the planned nationwide protest against economic hardship scheduled for August 1st. The NLC President Joe Ajaero said the union cannot withdraw from a protest that it did not organize. This was contained in a press release signed by Ajaero. Ajaero explained that the NLC has a structured decision-making process which includes internal trade union mechanisms and leadership approval that guide its industrial actions such as protests to ensure consideration before taking action. In more news, the leaders of the National Association of Nigerian Students and campus leaders in Lagos State have held a press conference in support of Lagos State government and their efforts to promote better education attainment. They spoke on the actions of the planned nationwide strike, which will take place in August 1st, as an action they won't be a part of due to their trust in the current administration.
As we gather here today, I want to address the pressing concerns that have led to the contemplation of a protest. While it is our democratic right to voice our concerns, it is equally important to acknowledge the strides and success achieved through the collaborative efforts of the Lagos State government, particularly through the Ministry of Tertiary Education.
Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has always been a father, a principal, and also the union patron. He has really been serving the union in several capacities so as to ease the economic hardship on them. Recently, the governor announced the increment of bursary and scholarship from 50,000 naira to 60,000 naira, which is a commendable one. And also, scholarship payments from 200,000 to 225,000. It is with this, we the Indigenous Student Association say no to the August 1st protest.
Amidst call for nationwide protests, non-indigenous communities in Borno State have opted for a different approach. Fearing the potential escalation of tensions and division, community representatives have voiced their strong preference for dialogue as a means of addressing grievances and promoting national progress. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
A major issue in the Nigerian public sphere is whether or not there will be protest, as has been widely touted, come the first week of August. The fact is, Nigerians are concerned about the high cost of living, from foodstuffs to petrol, among others. This is believed to have been a consequence of government policies on subsidy withdrawal, among others. Non-indigenous persons in Nigeria's northeast state of Borno on Tuesday converged to call for proactive measures to avoid tension in the country.
I will call on those people that are planning this strike and this protest to please forget it, to think of. The repercussion may not be good. There was never a protest that ended well. In most cases, they turned out to be very bloody. When Kenya started, it was just like what they are going to do for an hour. Today, it has become a very serious disaster.
That maybe you think that you don't have father, you don't have mother, somebody will now call you to give you money so that you go and strike your city, which maybe along the line it may come back. So I'm pleading to Nigerians, please, let's join our hands together and pray for our nation.
These accumulated things, and in course of governance, there are bound to be potholes, and the government is trying to fill the potholes, which they did not create or did they cause. Sometimes natural things cause the situation. So in right parties, for them to pray and give everything to God.
They voiced their support for initiatives that promote understanding and harmony, urging fellow Nigerians to join hands in building a stronger, more cohesive society.
You see the sheer enormity of violence in Kenya. That country can never recover in the next 20 years. If you see the kind of buildings that has been destroyed. What happened in Libya? What happened in Tunisia? What happened in Sudan? What happened in Syria? There is no place that violence has taken place that it has ended peacefully the way it started. And after we have gone through this history of misery of the Boko Haram insurgency, are we ready again to be used as cannon fodder to cause problems? Because when this thing begins, you will never know where it's going to end.
For this group of people, inclusivity and cooperation is what is needed to overcome challenges. As such, they appealed for unified effort towards a better future for all Nigerians. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Earlier, Executive Director, Not Too Young to Lead initiative Elvis Akbobi and Public Affairs Analyst Ibrahim Amarawa joined us to discuss on this.
At the moment, that's what I know, that protest is a democratic right of citizens. I also know that Nigeria is sitting on the keg of gunpowder should that protest go because there's tension in the land, and oftentimes I don't want to say Nigeria that will look like Kenya. So I would like to take it back to history, the EndSARS protest. A lot of families are still yet to get over the grief of their loved ones, and till date there are some persons that didn't see their loved ones, and oftentimes it's young people that are really the vehicles of all this, that are the victims of these issues. Let's not forget too that there are those playing political shares that want to use young people to hijack the protest. Because I just came back from Canada, and while I was there, I noticed LCDA, is it their liquid bought something? They protested because it's their right, and even police were escorting them, accompanying them while they were doing this protest. But back in Nigeria, there's already tension everywhere, and I want to also appeal to the security agencies, in as much as I will commend them for what they're doing. They should gather their intelligence, because I know there are people out there who want to hijack this project.
Jobless young people roaming the streets. And even though the young people call it a peaceful protest, but there are ongoing fear it may turn violent because of such a huge number of unemployed youth roaming the street in our country. So, and again, in the other part, I am calling on the security apparatus to conduct their duties with the utmost following the rules and regulations of the country, instead of intimidating, to ensure that the peaceful did not turn violent, and to also ensure that the security agencies coordinate and conduct and support the young people to speak out to the government with the language.
Now, at a time when Nigeria should look forward to reaping the proceeds of Africa's largest refinery, reactions have trailed the current feud between the federal government and the Dangote refinery. Now, this is coming on the heels of allegations of monopoly against the chairman of the Dangote Group by the chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed. News Central's Adeshawa Dushoga reports.
The richest black man in the world, Aliko Dangote, has been headlining the news in the last few days. While his world-class refinery is preparing to commence sale of PMS in August, Dangote is having tough times with the regulatory agencies, which have cited concerns of substandard petroleum product, a threat to energy security, and monopoly in the oil sector.
As a regulator, do your work as a regulator. Don't let bad quality fuel get into the market. But please and please support that project rather than having a preference for imported quality.
The Dangote Group has repeatedly defended the quality of its petroleum product after several laboratory tests that further prove its authenticity.
Even at the 650 ppm and 700 ppm that we are producing was a better quality than what was imported.
We tested for other products from the samples we got from each different petroleum stations, and we got the result, which has already been, you have already seen for yourselves, and we have tested our own and we have seen the difference.
The recent feud has generated concerns among stakeholders in the manufacturing and oil and gas sector, the political class, existing and potential investors, as well as ordinary Nigerians, many of whom are standing in solidarity with the Dangote Group.
This controversy is an unnecessary distraction. It's an unnecessary distraction because, like it has also been pointed out, how about those refineries controlled by government? Have they been able to deliver?
Let's be able to earn foreign exchange by exporting refined products. Let's be able to stop all that importation and consuming our hard-earned foreign exchange in importing white products.
For decades, Nigeria has been heavily dependent on the importation of petroleum products, which has affected fuel prices due to a fluctuating foreign exchange and the accrual of millions of naira in subsidies paid by the Nigerian government. The local refinery has the potential to drastically reduce fuel prices, reduce pressure on the foreign reserve, and create jobs, as well as increase the value of the naira in the foreign exchange market. One of the many questions on the minds of Nigerians is there more that meets the eyes in the feud between the government agency and Dangote? Is there a ploy to ensure the importation of refined products never end in Nigeria? And will the public refineries ever come back alive? In Lagos for News Central, Adeshawa Odushoga.
Welcome back. The Deputy Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives has commended President Bola Tinubu for assenting to the Southeast Development Commission Act, saying that this will help reconcile the damage caused to the region by the civil war over 50 years ago. The commission will manage funds for the southeastern states of Abia, Imo, Enugu, Anambra, and Ebonyi, and will help end the agitation in the region, ensuring that the aspirations of citizens in the southeast are realized. The Deputy Speaker urged those in the region to view the signing of the act into law as government's commitment to addressing the challenges of citizens in the southeast, and urged them to discontinue the upcoming planned nationwide protest.
This bill that was assented to by the President defies the commitment to the real rehabilitation, reconstruction of the Southeast. It means that a 54-year-old jinx has been broken by the Southeast loving President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. To my fellow Southeasterners, I implore you not to join the planned looming anti-government protests. Instead, let us view the signing of the Southeast Development Commission Bill into law as a testament to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration's resolve to heal the wounds of the past.
Now, residents of Olukuta Road in Ori community of Ogun State are calling on the state government to attend to the major road in the area. The road, which leads to the Wole Soyinka train station, is in a terrible state, thus making it difficult for travelers to access the train station. Our correspondent Bernard Akede earlier joined us from Ogun State to speak on this.
I haven't taken the train ride down here before, but I hear that it's a really cool journey and a wonderful experience. However, it's an entirely different story when you get here. And the fact is that there is a bridge just behind me over there. I'll zoom in so you can see that bridge. Now, all the way from that bridge down to where I'm standing, you can see that the road is actually tarred, making accessibility a bit easy for people making it down to the train station here. Unfortunately, the part of the story that most people don't get to hear is that from that bridge down to here, up until where I'm going to walk to, at least where your eyes can see, just about 1 kilometer journey or about 1 kilometer radius is the most you will get of the tarred road. And after that, it's completely unmotorable. It's all the way down, follow the light post.
The coalition of Niger Delta interest groups has criticized attempts at instigating an ethnic crisis in the region over the award of contracts for the protection of oil and gas pipelines in the region. The coalition, while reacting to allegations made by the zonal secretary of the All Progressive Congress for the South-South Zone, claiming that officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited now awards pipeline protection contracts based on ethnic sentiments, says that the statements are false and misleading and capable of creating ethnic divisions. Now, in a bid to instigate a long resolve in the ethnic clashes within the South-South region, he said.
This period, I think there is reduced pipeline vandalism, there is reduced oil bunkering, and we know that in line for the very first time in so many years in an NPC, we are seeing a kind of result in that area. But talking about the oil pipeline contract and the rest of such, we want to make it as a categorical statement that every word contained in that allegation is false. The executive vice chairman, vice president of NNPC, from what we know about the office, it's not the first person to occupy that office. We know exactly what the office can actually do. I think, bringing some politically tainted allegations does not show well about the accuser.
It becomes very, very pertinent that people of goodwill, decent-minded Niger Deltas must speak out, must correct this erroneous speculation associating a career professional, decisions that were taken at the highest board level with the interests of delivering good governance and making sure that security is guaranteed for the oil business in Nigeria, associating it to an ethnic coloration. It is very unfortunate, it is unfounded.
Suspended Commissioner for Health in Abia State, Ngozi Okoronkwo, has formally resigned from the government of Alex Otti. The ex-commissioner was suspended on the 11th of June 2024 following allegations of misconduct and investigations into her activities while she held sway. A statement from the chief press secretary to the governor, Ukoha Njoku Ukoha, confirmed she tendered her resignation to the governor. The statement added that the governor accepted her resignation, thanked her for her achievements in the health sector and wished her well in her future endeavors. It is yet unknown the outcome of the investigation. News Central's Chinwe Ogele reports that a call placed to the commissioner to confirm her reason for the resignation was busied. Away from that now, the National Counterterrorism Center Office of the National Security Advisor announced on Wednesday that the government has resumed mass trials of terrorism suspects. In a statement by Abu Michael, head of strategic communications for NCTC-ONSA, it was revealed that the trials will adhere to the international criminal justice system. Michael stated that at least 300 suspects are currently on trial, while 5 judges presiding over the courts and chambers established for swift justice. He added that the suspects are being represented by lawyers from the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria. Additionally, Michael noted that 800 cases had been reviewed with charges prepared for thorough prosecution. Welcome back. The news continues in East Africa, where Kenyan President William Ruto has named 4 prominent opposition politicians to join a broad-based cabinet following over a month of anti-government protests. On Wednesday, Ruto announced 10 new ministers, including 4 close allies of veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga. This comes after submitting another list of 10 ministers to Parliament on Tuesday. Ruto, facing political turmoil, had dismissed nearly his entire cabinet on the 11th of July and announced a new partial lineup on July 19th, which included some previously dismissed ministers. The 4 opposition nominees are John Mbadi for the Treasury, James Opio Wandai for Energy, Ali Joho for Mining Ministry, and Wycliffe Oparanya as head of Cooperatives Ministry. However, these nominations must be approved by Parliament.
I commend the leadership of diverse organizations, both in public and private sectors, including political parties, for their encouraging response to my outreach to consult on forming a broad-based government. Their willingness to set aside partisan positions and interests in order to join a visionary partnership for the radical transformation of Kenya is a historic gesture of their patriotism.
Rescuers, aided by drones, continued their desperate search on Wednesday for possible survivors of devastating landslides in an isolated area of southern Ethiopia. This comes as humanitarian agencies are scrambling to deliver emergency relief aid to the stricken community, marking the deadliest such incident in Ethiopia, a country highly vulnerable to climate-related disasters. According to the Gopher Zone Communications Affairs Department, 148 men and 81 women have been confirmed dead in the remote and mountainous region. The United Nations Humanitarian Agency, OCHA, reports that about 14,000 people need urgent evacuation due to the risk of further landslides. The disaster has reportedly claimed 229 lives and affected thousands more. In South Africa, Nigerians in South Africa protested outside Boksburg Court in Johannesburg, demanding justice for a Nigerian who was killed in 2023 and also tortured Onyedikachi Iroka to coma. The 4 Boksburg North police officers were back in the dock at the Boksburg Magistrate Court for trial. They were arrested by the Independent Police Investigative Directorate in connection with 2 separate incidents. According to the IPID spokesperson Lizzie Seping, the 4 were initially charged with assault with the intent to do grievous bodily harm and defeating the ends of justice. Earlier, our South African correspondent Bongani Sisiba spoke to some Nigerians on the development.
We are here for the brutality against Nigerians, the killing against Nigerians. So we are not happy. That is why we are here. And justice must be done for us to cover us because we are law-abiding citizens. We are here lawfully. We have our documents. We do our businesses. So they must protect us. Thank you.
I don't have much view and much to say. Like my brother said, the law must take its own. The South African laws must treat Nigerians according to the way their laws is. You know, we are here on the court today, and unfortunately they postponed the case. We are waiting for the next time we are appearing on the court to see how the case will go forward.
Welcome back. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz stated on Wednesday that it is entirely possible for U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris to win the upcoming presidential elections in November, describing her as competent and experienced. During his annual summer press conference in Berlin, Scholz emphasized that while it is possible for Harris to win, the ultimate decision lies with American voters. He highlighted his personal exchanges with Harris, noting that their conversations were genuine and not simply rehearsed statements. The U.S. presidential race is being closely watched by Washington's allies in Europe, especially due to the potential victory of Donald Trump, known for his combative and often isolationist stance.
Der Wahlkampf in den USA wird sicherlich sehr spannend, jetzt mit einer etwas neuen Aufstellung und einer neuen Konstellation. Ich will ausdrücklich sagen, dass es für uns wahrscheinlich hier in Deutschland allesamt eine Überforderung wäre, den Wahlausgang vorherzusagen. Ich halte für sehr gut möglich, dass Kamala Harris die Wahl gewinnt, aber es entscheiden die amerikanischen Wählerinnen und Wähler. Und wie in den letzten gesagt habe, das ist eine kompetente und erfahrene Politikerin, die genau weiß, was sie tut und sehr klare Vorstellungen hat von der Rolle ihres Landes, von den Entwicklungen in der Welt, auch von den Herausforderungen, vor denen wir stehen. Und sie macht das auch sehr aus sich heraus. Ich führe ja viele Gespräche, auch genau. Und nein, die SPD ist eine sehr geschlossene Partei. Wir sind alle fest entschlossen, gemeinsam in den nächsten Bundestagswahlkampf zu ziehen und zu gewinnen. Und ich werde als Kanzler antreten, erneut Kanzler zu werden.
Now, China says it remains firmly committed to promoting a political solution to the war in Ukraine. This is according to Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who made the remark during a meeting in southern China on Wednesday with his Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba, who both sides called for peace as Russia's war against Ukraine continues. Kuleba responded that Ukraine does not believe Russia is ready for good faith negotiations to end the conflict. China, representing itself as a neutral party, insists that the only way to end the war is by bringing both Ukraine and Russia to the negotiating table.
两国外长就乌克兰危机交换了意见。王毅指出，乌克兰危机已经进入第3个年头，冲突还在持续，并存在升级外溢的风险。中方始终坚定致力于推动危机政治解决。习近平主席提出4个应该，为此提供了重要遵循。中方认为，所有冲突的解决最后都要回到谈判桌前，一切争端的化解总要通过政治途径实现。近期，俄乌双方都不同程度地发出愿意谈判的信号，虽然条件时机还不成熟，但我们支持一切有助于和平的努力，愿意继续为停火止战、恢复和谈发挥建设性作用。
Relentless rain drenched the northern Philippines on Wednesday, triggering floods in Manila and landslides in mountainous regions as Typhoon Gimi intensified the seasonal monsoon. In the densely populated capital, rescuers were deployed across the city to help evacuate people from low-lying homes after downpours turned streets into rivers, trapping vehicles. People clutched firmly flimsy umbrellas as they waded through thigh-high murky waters or used small boats and shopping trolleys to move around. Government offices were shut, classes suspended, and at least 80 domestic and international flights were cancelled. Tens of thousands of customers also lost power due to severe weather. Business now. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday passed the amendment bill of the 2023 Finance Act, increasing the windfall levy on banks' foreign exchange revaluation gains from the proposed 50% to 70%. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, stated that the levy shall be 70% of the realized profits from all exchange transactions by banks, with penalties for non-payment. The Senate also amended the commencement date to align with the new foreign exchange policy introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria on June 14, 2023, and extended the timeline for applying the windfall levy to the 2025 financial year. Additionally, the Senate passed an amendment to the 2024 Appropriation Act, adding 6.2 trillion naira for recurrent expenditure, including the new 70,000 naira minimum wage and infrastructure projects. However, the proposal has faced criticism from tax advisory bodies and legal experts, citing concerns over retroactive taxation, unpredictability, and potential legal disputes. And now sports. After weeks of negotiations, head coach of Shooting Star Sports Club of Ibadan, Gbenga Ogumbote, has signed a 2-year contract extension with the Oluyole Warriors. Speaking after signing the contract extension papers, Ogumbote expressed his intent to push the team to further glory in 2024/25 NPFL season. The 5-time league champions finished in 4th place last season, narrowly missing out on a return to CAF club competition. Shooting Stars began a pre-season training on Monday in Ijebu-Ode and will ramp up their preparations at the Value Jet Cup in Ikenne, which kicked off today. They've been drawn against NPFL newcomers Ikorodu City and Beyond Limits Football Academy, as well as Sudanese champions Al Merrekri. The 2024/25 NPFL season will kick off on the 31st of August. And Niger Premier League football champions Rangers International have announced the signing of Bashir Usman from Niger Tornadoes, their 12th new signing of the transfer window. The winger, who scored 12 goals in the 2023-24 NPFL season, has signed a 2-year deal with the Enugu side. Following his superb performances for Niger Tornadoes, he became a transfer target for several clubs both within and outside the country, but eventually signed for the NPFL champions after all contract terms were agreed upon at the club's corporate office. Rangers turned to Usman, whose move to Egypt broke down after they missed out on Clinton Jefter, who joined rivals Eyimba instead. Cameroonian mixed martial arts star Francis Ngannou is planning to make his return to MMA in October in Saudi Arabia. The former UFC heavyweight champion has not fought in MMA since January 2022, having spent the past 2 years focused on his boxing career. Ngannou left the UFC and signed for the PFL last year and says he will make his promotional debut against Renan Ferreira. The 37-year-old took a break from the public eye after the death of his 15-month-old son in April. According to him, Kobe Ngannou fainted twice before his death in Dubai due to a mild inflammation of the brain. Meanwhile, Ferreira won the PFL's 2023 heavyweight tournament and has 13 wins, 3 losses, and 3 no contests on his record. And Canada's women's football manager Beverly Priestman will not take charge of her side's Olympic opener against New Zealand after 2 members of her backroom staff were sent home for allegedly flying a drone over New Zealand's team training session. Priestman voluntarily withdrew from Thursday's match in St. Etienne after the New Zealand Olympic Committee reported that a drone had been flown over their training session on Monday. Jasmine Mander, Priestman's assistant, has been sent home, along with unaccredited analyst Joseph Lombardi. The Canadian Olympic Committee said a scouting report filed by Lombardi was sent to Mander and head coach of the Canadian team. Priestman has said she takes responsibility for the actions of her colleagues. And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Federal government has held emergency meeting pleading for more time to address economic challenges. And Kenya's President William Ruto has unveiled a new cabinet with 4 opposition members included. We also told you the death toll has risen as search for survivors of Ethiopia deadly landslides continue. Remember, you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen now. And do remember to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.